Hey guys, how you doing? Okay, let's get into this. Alright, let's do it to it. Okay, gotta be fast, gotta be quick. Don't let your guard down. Develop knight d b7 and then queen to b6. See if I can't get some attack going that way. Okay, now I can just get home down there. Place here, I'm gonna go G5 back, bishop takes, pawn takes, and then queen takes, and I'll be up a whole pawn if he doesn't take my knight. I'm gonna be up a whole pawn. Okay. So if I can't get my majority going. Up in here. Right there. See if I can't get rook to b8. And I also have queen e6, rook b8. My next idea is to go rook to queen g3. want to play in here, see if I can't get in there and threaten this pawn here with check, winning a rook. Let me see where I might have. There's a point here that I gotta look at. See where I might have gone a little bit astray. Right here. Maybe I should have taken pawn, rotates pawn. That's what I'm thinking right here. Yeah. I think I simplified too much with that. I think this would have actually won. Yes, it did. Okay. Alright, gotta remember, go with your gut sometimes. Okay. Try one more, then we'll head into it. Alright. Oh, chat call? Sorry guys. Okay. Gotcha. A huge pawn thrust is kind of what I want to start my attack with. Now I got a weakness that I can take scope on. you doing, Fox? Okay, dokie. Trying to see how I can. I want to see if I can't get a rook here. Come on, don't lag on me now. Come on. What's going on? Come on, don't lag on me now. Oh, come on. You gotta be kidding me. Stay on the page. Yeah. We'll have to take a look at that. Just a sec. See if I can't get in. Drat. I almost had a draw there. You can't leave this pawn. I just, darn it. I had a draw there. Snap. Just ran out of time. Yeah, we'll do that. Just one sec. I want to see some. Oh, wow. Okay, we'll take a look at that now. Let's see, what do we got here? Yeah, some of those games were really interesting. Like, there was one that Gary played that Topalov kind of missed, but then Gary got his bishop trapped, and yeah, he lost the game because of a blunder. And they asked him about that, and he said that a blunder just doesn't happen from one move. It's a sequence of moves that were played inaccurately. That's what he said. I didn't look at a blunder that way before, but that makes perfect sense. Okay, turn off the engine. I ran the tournament from the St. Louis chess positions one day. Leela doesn't know usual castling rules, so to put it in castles. Which Grandmaster player was this? Is this Gary's one? There was like four boards going on, I believe, or five. Takes, rotates, bishop c2, and knight g6. Oh yeah, I forgot, this was the 960, wasn't it? Because everybody had the same starting position. I have a question though. Do the 960s ever not allow castling? Because I was asked that question, and I'm not really I'm kind of not up to the 960 Fischer kind of setup. Are there ever any setups where there's no castling for the king? Because I was just curious about that. Or does it allow castling every time? E3, knight c4, knight g3, bishop h4. Okay. So there is okay, they do have it so that castling, yeah. That's one thing I wanted to make sure I heard it right because yeah, I wanted to make sure I was always I didn't know if the rooks if the rook could be over here or if any time a king could be here and a rook could be there, like a king here and this rook would be there, king here, this rook would be there. I was wondering if they ever had a sitch like that. Probably, but I'm not too familiar with 960s. It was a really interesting setup. How it's kind of weird how they castled. It's like they castled like this. I wondered what it would be like if they castled queenside. That'd been interesting for sure. D6. I didn't get to see any of them castle queenside. That or at least Grandmaster Maurice Ashley Yazzer and Women's Grandmaster Jennifer didn't show any where there was queenside, I believe, castling. So I was just wondering what that looked like. Is it kind of the same type of setup? Is the king here and the pawn there when it's kind of set up like that? C6. Ideas are the same though, because chess is chess. So it's not like the ideas and the moves don't change. It's just kind of how the castling is set up that's a little different. And they used to, I think they did that if I'm not mistaken, to see how they would do if they had a position set up awkwardly like that. How would they play? Because if they've mastered the chess setup, they probably want to fine tune their understanding if they have the ability to play even in awkward king positions, piece positions. What would they do in that type of a setup? I kind of would do a 960 just to see how I would do in that type of setup. If I've become like a super, that'd be a wise decision because then you can set up your king to certain areas, pieces around, and you can say what would happen if I played this, and then you put it into an engine, and you like what you're saying. It doesn't understand castling, so not as yet with the 960, but someday maybe it will, and then they'll be able to do a 960 against a computer, and that would be really an interesting battle for sure. So B3, interesting. They're thinking about fianchettoing. Um, the whole thing about a 960 I noticed is your pieces are awkwardly placed, of course. You have to get your bishops, which I noticed that knights didn't have any problems with the 960. It was the bishop that the bishops were the ones that always had a slight issue with the setup because they had to find the exactly, and yeah, they had to find the bishops had to find the correct move order, setup, where to be placed. They had to do that for their bishops. That's what Maurice Ashley was talking about in Yazzer. Was the hardest thing for the G60 players was where to put their dark squared bishops. Yeah, yeah, and so that's kind of the sitch that I noticed in that setup of the 960 was bishop placement was a tremendous importance. Do they keep it on the same diagonal, or do they play like a pawn move like white just did here and try to see if they can't fianchetto their bishops? What do they do with their bishops? That was the key that I noticed in the 960 that's important. And so if I ever play a 960, probably someday I will, you have to keep in mind your bishop placement is very, very important in a 960. So just keep that in mind if you guys ever play those, or if you're going to compete in one of those. Just remember your bishop placement is important. And I didn't think of it that way until Yazzer and Maurice and Jennifer talked about that. Their whole ideas were based not on the knights, but on the bishop placement. I know I've repeated myself a couple times with that, but that's kind of like the pinnacle of the 960. At least that's what I got from it. It might be something different for a different player, but that's what I've understood it to be. So c5, nice. Okay, so black's trying to hammer home a central attack. That makes sense. That makes practical sense there. If they can pawn storm and get maybe a setup like b6 and fianchetto their bishop, they may have a really good 960 setup. So b6 and then queen to bishop b7, and I believe black would have a pretty darn tootin' good game here. I like black after this, but you'd probably have to be very careful, because after the knight moves to knight to e2, you have to take. Because if you played this right away, he would take, and then you wouldn't have anything for any compensation. So before that, you have to take, and then he has the option, if he wants, to double his or make an isolated pawn or push. So pushing is an interesting setup, because if he takes, let me see here. Maybe bishop out, and look, now the placement of the bishops are really power. So maybe it's just takes. Maybe I think I kind of made a slight inaccurate move. Just taking really throws a tailspin into black's position at this point, because then it disrupts a lot of the unity of their position. They now have to come over and protect their knight, therefore they lose this pretty nice attack on the pawn on e3, and all white would have to do is double up again with attack again with the bishop to a3, and I don't know, I think that would happen. And then let's see what else could well, you could no, I was wrong there. Maybe you just play pawn push, and if takes, bishop takes, and now white's fully developed. I like white in that line. I now understand why the queen went to c7 is so that if the pawn takes, which of course white's going to have to take, so it takes, the queen takes back, and now you have a double attack with a potential, if rook takes, bishop takes, queen takes check, when the king moves you pick up a knight, so you get a bishop, you get a pawn, knight, and bishop for one rook. In my opinion, I think that's a pretty stellar deal. So that's kind of why this rook had to basically say, no, I'm gonna block you. My artillery is ready and waiting. You think you're gonna take it? I have Alekhine, or Emanuel Lasker, protecting my rook on d4 on my artillery unit. So the knight goes knight to e7, and now we're doubling up. We're threatening to pick up a knight. So the rook comes up. Now white's starting to pour on the jet fuel, as I like to call it, and a4. Now this is this, in my opinion, I like this move because it's if b5 you can take, and then this pawn would fall. So he's gonna have to play a6 first, and then b5, trying to get something out of this. Okay, now the knight's starting to flow in. Gotta love it. Everything's starting to flow. So a5. If the queen takes, if you're wondering, queen takes, kaboom. Kaboom. And then king up and you're fine to go, and I believe you're up a whole piece in that line. So that's why you can't take. Now we're attacking and protecting the pawn at the same time. And the queen now is protecting, so if the knight takes, rook takes, we win a knight. Now the bishop's attacking, the queen protecting, so this is a pretty impressive, in my opinion, setup. They're really keeping scope on an eye on Alekhine's position, the Alekhine a5 pawn. Queen a3, queen takes pawn, and so now knight takes, and queen back. Now the bishop takes, so there's 4 of e4, bishop takes, rook takes, and now the rook's under fire, and nice. There's a little bitty trick of a discovery here. You gotta love that setup. It takes. I like white tremendously here. I think white, in my opinion, is totally schooling black. The only advantage black has in anything is his 2 passed pawns, but I don't know if black could really ever get compensation like in time. Hold on to the pawn. And if you notice, white's the one getting the pawns rolling. So black emerges, white emerges a piece up. Just pushing the pawn. And black's actually losing here, but I gotta say they're holding on pretty nice. It's too bad we didn't have a check here and we can get in behind this pawn. It'd be lovely if we could have done that, but the knight would then take. And they're just moving around. And then just moving. That's kind of what the computers do. They wait for the right moment move sequence, and they just move around. And they don't give up till it's basically they know it's all over. Now white has mobility with his pieces, and that's what you don't want. Now he could even trade off a rook for a rook and still be winning. Wow, 144 moves. That's insane right there. Yeah, there's now potentially this you don't really want to push that pawn because then he has discovery. So you're probably going to want to play rook g2, and if king there, then you maybe have knight, and if here you just start pushing the pawn. So that is an interesting game. Let's try one more 5, and then we'll do another one. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Stay focused. He might play there, might play here. He might play here. Oh, so he played there. Harry, Harry, who's our hero? You're gonna make sure we make it. I want to see if I can't get my rook up. A rover. Yeah. Kaboom. We'll do one more, but I gotta tell you, that was a pretty interesting setup for sure. And then we have to now get into after this. Whatever happens, you know what, you just have to be okay with it. You may not like it, but can't get everything you want. castles, and this is a very awkward setup, to say the least. I don't want a knight coming in there. See if I can't get a knight posted there. I'm going to see if I can't potentially get a knight in here. Let's see if I can't take, then potentially play there. It's pretty interesting. Now a lot of this is based now on patience. Yikes. Yeah, I think it's lost here. Let's try one rematch. That was kind of an interesting move for sure. Okay. That was my fault there. I got a little too impatient. I should have just maneuvered around. Should have brought my knight back and just accepted that I was kind of in a semi-closed position or a closed position, and just been okay with it. I learned something there. Yeah, but okay. Let's see if we can't implant a knight there. It's one thing that computers have is patience galore, and that's what I need to build. One more, come on, let's finish this fast. Okay. Now I have we have Harry. Let's see if I can't enter in here. Or potentially get a knight. Yeah, I have to figure out how I can break this down. Let's see here. I guess it is a draw at this point then. I guess it is a draw. Nah, I'm good. We'll call it 50-50 on that one. I'm gonna see this, then we'll get into our studies. Inconsistent openings. Okay. I want to just check this out real quick. Oh, I should have. Oh, shoot! This would have been a good move because of that there. Then I come in, and potentially I have that. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right. We'll do this, and then we'll do the game. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see here. Not bad. Okay. Okay. Okay, you're white. Gotcha. So D4, D6, D3. Okay. You should try it. You should have played the London. That would have been sweet. Then you could have practiced your London system on this guy. You know the London system by now, like by the back of your guys' hand. This would have been sweet. He plays here, and then now you know what to do. But if you're trying to learn another opening, that's a good way too. So it's not like it's a bad move. Still a good move. It just makes the position slightly more complicated. Takes things. Yeah, one thing I learned is I have to be patient with my games. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Bishop e d2, yeah. I was just saying though that if you ever like wonder, oh, what should I play, and you get a sweet setup like that, always just fling in the London. If you're kind of a slightly under the weather and you're like your brain's cloudy or something, just fling in the London and you'll at least get out of the opening into a okay middle game. And then from there, if you're a tactician genius, which I know you guys are by now because we've been doing puzzles, you then can just stomp your opponents. Destroy. I know you gotta be nice about it, but because it's not about hurting their feelings. You gotta play proper, and when you win, then you get to explain to your opponents how you won, and then they explain to you why they moved the move they did, and you both learn something. And that's the whole point. That's what the grandmasters do at the end of each game. Win, lose, or draw, they talk about the board and they come away with something new. So bishop takes. Yeah, you're doing really good here. Your position is stellar. So B, okay. I'm trying to see. I know there has to be a better move here somewhere, because that actually, I believe that potentially would lose a piece, if I'm not mistaken. I think that loses a piece on the spot with bishop takes, and if bishop takes, then rook could come down and grab that. And then if takes here, you just grab it. And did your opponent find that? Did he find bishop takes? Did you guys talk about bishop takes f3 and how it actually wins a piece? This wins a piece on the spot, if I'm not mistaken. Because your whole idea of protection of this bishop on d2 is based on the knight. So if black can remove the knight, he basically has your piece. The best he could do is bishop takes, knight takes, and maybe bishop comes up here, and then you just retreat. You can actually retreat your bishop out so that you can get it there. And I believe you arise. If you played here, not that, but bishop takes f3. This knight, this bishop is hanging on by a thread here. That's why I'm moving the queen. Yeah, this is what I was looking at. It just removes the guard, and this bishop, I don't know what, because if you try to move it, he just grabs the other bishop, and so you're down just 2 pieces. Let's see if we're right. If this is, yeah. See, you're actually winning here. I was actually looking at this to say the least, because I like the potential bishop takes with the pin on the. I did look at this, but I was a little concerned about, can the knight move for a discovery on the rook? But who cares? Let's say the knight does. Oh, great! You just won the queen. Hooray! So, oh look, he could take. Yeah, but still, he takes with check. So if he takes here, you take with check in between move, and now you grab the rook, and now you're totally dominating. So I did look at this, but I was concerned about a discovery of the rook, but I shouldn't have been so concerned. I should have just played it. I need to have sometimes my thing is, hey, how you doing? How you doing, Gaming 23? Yeah, this would have been a sweet sweet move. Oh yeah, loving it. Kaboom. So that basically wins on the spot. Okay. Yeah, this was a blunder. I'd give this double question. This one gets a either a question mark or maybe a dubious move. I'm not sure if I still think this move here is a pretty stellar move. I think this still is a playable move at this point. And if he plays here, you take there. And if he takes here, you take there. I guess it's equal at this point. No, you actually pick up a whole piece in that line. Then if he plays there, you just move. Yeah, you're up a whole exchange in that line. And then the knight has to, yeah, it has to go there. And then maybe you can even, let's see, yeah. I'm not sure. Let's see if that's right. I want to see if this line, yeah, okay. Does this really do anything? If he plays there, oh snap! That was my bad. My bad there. My bad. Bad move. Bad move on that. Delete that line. Delete. That's a bad line. Yeah, just move the queen. Okay. Yeah. I meant bishop c6 95. Yeah, that's true. Okay, back here. Okay, so if he plays, okay, back here before this bishop. So you are concerned if bishop d4 was a tactic. I wouldn't have been too concerned about that because I believe you still can take with the pawn, and then pawn takes, bishop takes. If rook takes, then you take with the knight. You should be fine. I think you're still fine even if he goes. You just take. Yeah, you take, and then even if he plays here, you can grab that. He has. You don't have to worry about your bishop anymore. Your bishop doesn't have to be concerned at all, because remember it was here hanging on by this knight. We can just now move and we're fine. Oh, pawn takes. I think in that line you could just play bishop takes here, and the bishop's pinned, so he's going to have to give up a material. Queen takes, and then you pick that up. So takes. Huh. That's interesting to say the least. So maybe rook takes right away. If rook takes, bishop takes. If rook takes, bishop takes. In between move, takes, and then you take there, and you're still up, I think, a piece. I think you'd have to do rook takes right away, and he's probably going to have to do knight takes. And I think you still have the same sitch here. And then what he would do is he'd take there, takes, then no, you don't want to do that. Well, you're up a whole exchange here. So either way, you're up a whole exchange. Maybe even a pawn in that line. Now you don't have to worry about this bishop anymore. You're double attacking the knight. Huh. Then if he tries to flee, I guess you could just grab another pawn. Now you have to your 3 pawns and an exchange up. And next we're gonna basically exchange down. He has no rook anymore for a back rank mate, and you're basically close to it's almost resignable here for black. The Tigers would play on though. They won't give up. So don't expect your opponent to give up. They'll just keep playing. I've noticed that. Pretty interesting line for sure. Let's see here. Huh. Do we still have this set up here? Do we still have that? I want to. I think we still do at that line. He played Queen D6, and do we have a bishop takes right now? Takes. Rook takes. If knight takes, queen takes, bishop. Yeah, you're down in exchange in that line. I'm almost thinking rook takes here. Knight takes, bishop takes, rook takes. And then do you pick up a piece there? If queen takes, no you don't, because of your back rake problem with mate. Yeah, you get checkmated. Yeah. What if he just plays H? Probably, huh. That's a tough sitch there. I was wondering about this line. I'm not sure if that's the best line here. If rook takes, does that do anything? Because then if queen takes, could we actually take check? If queen takes, bishop takes, rook takes. Oh, you get back rank mated. Ah, drat. King safety. Snap. Oh, ouch. King safety is the pain in the drain. Yeah. Not a, hey, you know what? Good move. I'm thinking maybe rook there, check. If it comes up, bishop takes. What's going on? Why isn't this working? This is very odd, guys. Okay, we'll get on to our studies. Okay, hold on. Come on, work with me. Come on, don't lag on me now. Don't lag on me now. Okay, so what you're saying here is knight takes, rook takes. Oh, rook takes e. Queen actually could take here. This is what I was thinking about, and if we take there, he could actually take our bishop. Rook takes. We can't take back because of mate. Yep, you're right. Perfect. Fine there. Good job. Really good. Now we gotta get into our inaccurate. Yep. Good job. Good work. I gotta say, you know what? Don't look at it as a loss at all, because if you could take away something, like when I lose and stuff, I take away something every time. Like when I kind of went a little too hasty with that one player, I found out that I needed to be patient, and I noticed that the computers were patient, and so if I had the patience to wait, maybe rather than a loss, it would have ended up a draw. And that's a win my teacher taught me. So never look at a loss as the only thing you should look at a loss as is a lost opportunity to learn, because you can learn something from your wins and from your losses more. That Josh Waitzkin said from his losses, and he said, oh, do those losses really hurt, especially when it came down to if he would have won or at least drawn the game, won or drawn, he could have held the junior championship. So think about that. You know what? He should have went for a draw, but he saw a win, he said, and pushed way too hard, and therefore he lost the I think it was the under 12 championship. But you know what? He took, I believe he said he took a year off. His family was really patient with him, and him and Bruce Pontifini studied the pawns, and when he was ready, he went right back into chess, and he had a new desire for chess. He says he understood that that losing is part of chess. He says I don't desire to lose, but now I understand that it is. See, he went for like a spree of undefeating, and so he went into the game the under I believe it's 12 or 9. I'm not exactly sure. Forgive me if I'm doing the wrong age group. But the whole point is he went in there with a pride. He went in there with that he was undefeated. He wanted to go for the win, even if there was a draw. He wanted to go for the win, and he said he learned something from that, and it helped him with his whole entire life. So we could take this like Gary has a book, Life Imitates Chess. Same thing. You can learn from a mistake in your life so that you're not doomed to repeat it again. Okay, enough of that. We'll get on to this is what it says. This is the beginning. Last chapter, guys, chapter 10. You need to be aware of basically move orders where black kind of plays awkwardly to throw white off in the London system. You'll see this every once in a while with a player who's kind of they are a flashy player. They'll play something similar to this move here. I'll show you guys. F, and then you can go D5. Oops, I'm sorry, not that. It's actually black to play. Sorry, D5 here. This is a really... Oh, what in the world? Where's my... Ah, there we go. Okay. Alright, perfect. I was wondering where that was. Oops, sorry about that, guys. My mouse is a little sensitive there. So what white should have played here rather than the knight move, white should have played, and basically in our first line should have played potentially bishop to f4. There's also a slight trick though. Remember c5, c3, b6, bishop b3. Remember this line here, guys. c6, c6, e3, like Ginger said about creating the pyramid. c4 to attack. That gets an exclam mark. And remember, if you retreat back to c2, I missed. What did I miss here? I missed something. Holy ravioli, what did I miss here? Oh, snap. Did I miss? What did I miss? Oh, that's move 3. Duh. Okay, my bad. Hold on, guys. My bad. So if he plays here and then we play bishop f. Remember what this is the line. This is the line. Gotcha. I knew it was kind of funky. There wasn't bishop to f5 at that certain point. What he's saying is f5, c, here, there. Actually, wait a second. Did I miss a knight? Oh, not c4. It's I have to play the knight move, e, and now this is the exclam idea right here, and this loses on the spot. Oops, not a question mark but exclam. So, and c4 is another exclam setup, but that was just a sideline I wanted to show you guys. Then this actually happened, and Godakowski talked about this move order. So you have to be really careful with this move order. And so we will go and do d5. We talked about you have to in this line setup, you have to at this moment try to avoid this. Sometimes you can get that line, but if not, you got to be really careful. So you have to hold it. If you play this move here, you can play that move, but you have to be prepared for more of a slightly passive game. And Godakowski didn't like this. Basically, that's what the guy was saying. And then you go c5, bishop c3. Another interesting setup. He says still interesting lines, B6, like we put in. This is actually from one of the games. Gatakowski versus B. Grunland. He's like one of the top 50, so he's a really strong player. He knows what he's doing here. And knight C6, E3, C4 exclam. We talked about that. Black equalizes very easily. That's what he says. This is kind of like a Slav. And queen to C2 and bishop F5, like the line we talked about. This is an annoying problem. He says you're then going to have to play Meber in move 1, chapter 1. This is actually a very dubious move. It leads, you have to though, you can't allow, you can't take because you're losing at the point this happens. Because the knight guards this pawn here. If the knight wasn't here and he tried this line, you would be able to you'd be able to take here, and when the queen took, I'll show you. I think there is a. Let me set this up right. I think this is the line. Hold on. F5 bishop C. Oops. Wait a second. Not F. If he tried it with this line here, this is it. Knight, bishop, queen, push, back, bishop, takes, and then queen to B5. And I believe this is a little bit sensitive for black. For white, but you are threatening to come and almost trap the queen. I'm not sure if I put it in exactly right, but you guys kind of get the point on how this knight here guards this pawn on D5. So it's very vital that you have to be careful the move order. If a knight's on F6 and it's like this, you don't have this come over and grab idea. Okay, that was just a line that I don't know if I put it in exactly right, but you guys get the point. Okay, 8. Let's see what we got here. E6. Black could try this little sly move here. Bishop G. Knight takes. Come on, knight takes. H takes, G6, knight BD2 to develop, G6, even though it's biting on granite, B3, because you're trying to destroy this structure and make one big, so if he takes here, you would get one big pawn chain, even though it's awkwardly set up. This actually did happen from a game, so it did happen. Rather than that, the bishop went to H3, and you don't have to worry about, if you're wondering, can't he play bishop D6? No, the queen, nothing protects that bishop. So you're fine to, if he plays knight H5, to go to bishop to H2. Or knight Harry 5 and bishop Harry 2. Okie dokie. Knight BD, knight H as well for that. So knight BD2. And now with the idea of B3 like we talked about, queen D8. Oops, no, that's not what you want. Don't do that. This allows now for the trade of the bishops. So you have to keep that in your forefront of knowledge. A5 doesn't really do anything. because bishop e2. Black's going to be castling, so you have to be careful. b3 here, not the best move. A3 can actually be played here. So b3 is actually a double question mark, and a3 is an exclam. So just move order is important in this type of setup. You can't always just play b3. You have to time it just right. So e7, castles, castles, rook e1. Remember, we're getting everything ready. We're slowly getting stuff ready. b5, b4, b5, b4, queen b6 to prepare a5, g4 to take scope on the bishop, and agree. There was a draw that was agreed by the players, mutual draw in this line of play. The author says there was still a lot of line, a lot of play left in this, but very drawish setup. It would have closed up and been a draw. So he played queen d8, bishop e2. Let's move 11. Yep, queen e7. Yeah, Azar says he loves when they play this setup. Sometimes if you haven't pushed h3, you can go h4 and then if they're castled, after they castle, you can go for a pretty good attack. So he says it's fun. If his opponents ever did that, he would he says, a super grandmaster every time. If his opponents did that, he says he'd be probably mad. It was a joke on his chess base bishop f4 London system. He said that he'd be the strength of Magnus Carlsen. He said he laughed. He says, just a joke. So that's funny. You gotta have a little chess humor in that. So h4, b8, b5 are see, not Banco. I'm trying to think who. Well, we'll just call it Banco and Alekhine. So Banco b5 and Alekhine a5 would be the move setup that Black would love to play, and then Banco b4 after that, and try to destroy the pawn chain. So knight to e4. This may not be the best, and it seems to help White actually acquire a breakthrough on e4. So knight takes, bishop takes, and knight d2 to attack. Queen g6 and bishop to f3, which now, and this gets an exclam mark, because now what's happening is White's able to get a potential breakthrough with e4. And White's really happy here. So queen d7 to try to get the rooks. Hold on, did I miss something? Oh, okay, good. Hold on, that was my bad. I missed a move sequence. b5. I knew I missed something here. Yeah, Black's got to be careful not to fall for a trap here. This is actually a dubious move. This is a trap that White could set for him, and if he falls into it, he gets set in a web that he doesn't want to be put in. And then b5, that's another question mark. So two mistakes are inaccurate moves back to back. Not a good sign for our opponent. a4, kaboom, kabam. a6. To hold, he's trying to hold, so a takes b, a takes b, b takes c. Excuse me. A takes b, b takes c, B takes C, knight takes C, exclam, because now you're working on a pin, so you pick up a whole piece in that line. I mean, not a whole piece, you pick up a pawn. So that's why you got to be careful. So B5 was played, and now we play E4, Queen D7, E takes D, and then E takes. But I have to put an exclam for white. This was a vital breakthrough. Now the center is going to open up, and good play. Knight F1 gets another exclam because the idea is we're trying to flow all of our pieces over to the king side, and this is an in route to either play E3, which eyeballs D5, which would actually be a good idea because if the rook tried to come over, you can grab it because he can't take with the queen. So that's an interesting move sequence. Targets D5. So bishop D8, which is another. It's like he did a question mark on this. He did a question mark here. Yikes. F5 still. It says you could play bishop to F5 and knight E3. Then bishop E6 to hold the pawn, but it's equal, and white has control over the E file. So bishop D8, knight E3, bishop knight E7, but there is hold on. There's bishop to E4. Bishop takes, pawn takes. Now you have a passed pawn. Queen C2 to go after the pawn because it's weak. F5. A4 to undermine that pawn. A5. A takes. B takes. A4. Now you're taking scope on that pawn and potentially going rook to B4. Okay, C6. Hold on. What am I missing here? Oh, rook C8. There we go. And then C6. There we go. That's the line. D5, queen to C5 again, and queen A4, and pretty good setup, I gotta say. I prefer white in that line. That's when knight E7 was played. A4, bishop D3. Hold on, what did I? Hold on. Oh, bishop D3. There we go. A takes B. Queen takes forced. Bishop D6 with a pin, and after the knight moves, kaboom would happen, and you get a basically you'd trade a rook off for a bishop and a knight. And that gets an exclam mark because of how many ideas. My teacher told me you should have at least for each move 2 ideas. Yeah, it's not a 1 move idea, there's a problem. So bishop E4 to block that pawn. Bishop takes E4. D takes E4. Now we got to pass pawn. So the knight's going to have to come in and stop that. It's going to be a little bit of a problem, let's just say the least. Queen to C2. Remember, we're going after the weak point. You have to remember weak points. You have to find them and then emphasize their weakness. So c6 to guard and attack the bishop at the same time. Two move idea. There's f5 that could be played, and then queen a4. That gets an exclam because you're trading off, and there's still weaknesses galore all over the place for white, for black. If queen takes, this loses on the spot, double exclam. I believe the queen would be you take with check, king h8, and rook a b1. And I don't know if the queen is the queen trap d2, and rook. That's the problem. A b, queen d2. There you go. And then a2 e8, and I think the queen's lost here if I'm not mistaken. Close to being lost. Well, the queen is lost then. Can't go there, can't go there, can't go there, can't go there, can't go there. So it's game over. He'd have to play queen takes, and then you pick up the queen for a rook. Okay. Queen c5. Now this bishop is protecting the pass pawn. There's nothing really that can remove it. e8, a4, rook b8 to go after the pawn. Knight takes, the pawn protecting. Queen takes, rook takes. And black can resign. He could resign here if he wanted to, but he kept actually playing on knight d, and we'll just see what happens. You just take there, e6, rook e6. Then you have g3 to get the king to a safe square and get it closer. So you have to remember, always remember, your king's a fighter. e8, here we go. Now all the rooks are doubled. Bishop f, trying to keep an eye on everything. Hold on, what did I... Yikesies to Zyxes, let me see here. Let me see, where did I go awry? Hold on, guys. So far, so good. So before takes, C, okay. C5, good. Rook E8, A, B8. Knight takes, rook takes, knight d5, rook takes a5, queen e6. How did I get D? Oh my, that's my problem there. Okay, bishop f. It's black. It's white to move. Duh. Boy, I must be a little tired here. Must be a little bit tired here, because I missed that. Sometimes when you look at your notes and you're trying to see it, sometimes you miss a move written down there. It's like, where did that come? What's this? And then I have to remember, oh, it's white to move, not black. And it's like, ugh. Then you feel kind of silly, but you have to remember, yeah, everybody's learning, so you can't always be 100%. So A7 here. Now white's pouring on the pressure. Black should just resign here, but he's trying. So Bishop d6. And white's pouring on more pressure, b5. Let me make sure I have this. Okay, a, b7. There we go. Rook takes, h5. Let me see. I gotta make sure I got this right. Do I have my notes running there? Let's see. It's moved 37. Okay, 37 takes h5. Okay. Rook b8, b5. Oh, it's not b6. Come on, put it to b5. There we go. Now you're going after that. That gets an exclamation mark because you see a weakness, you go for a weakness, and I don't know if there's a way he can actually protect this. I think that pawn's gonna fall. h4. We take the pawn, and if he takes here, we just take back. We have enough to stop this. H takes g3. Bishop. Oh, bishop takes g3. That's even better. Rook to a6. a5 to shut this file down. Rook c to go after the knight. Knight d6, protected by the bishop. So everything's protected. b6 to go after the pawn. Basically b4. Rook c6, trying to find a weakness, trying his hardest, and then more likely rook to, oh, knight, hold on, knight takes, oh snap, yeah, that protects that. Even better idea. Didn't see that. That's a really good move. And at this point it's resignable. Let's get a summary. I would he says he would definitely avoid c on move 8 here. Queen c1, he would avoid it. White gets basically kicked around for a while, and he can't really find a good spot for his queen. So, but white does, if he can get a break on e4, he does get the lead back, and he may even get the d5 exchange, and potentially targets may arise. So even if you're playing passive for one move and it's dubious, don't give up. Try to play active from then on. And white basically destroyed black's position, and black fell apart, and black couldn't believe it. Black tried to go for a queenside attack. White shut that down and came out ahead of the game, basically. Okay. And tomorrow we get to do one that Gatakomsky is white and Sergei Karyakin's black. So we'll do one puzzle, and then I got a log. Yeah, I want to get a puzzle in before. Let me see. Yes, hold on, I gotta make sure everything's still flowing good. Yes, we'll do one puzzle. So we had a lot of games that we went over and learned from. Sometimes you don't get a lot of puzzles in, but you do still learn tactics from games. So we learned a lot of tactics from games, the games we went over. Once I gotta get a drink, then we'll start into this puzzle. Alright, let's see, what do we got here? What do we have, guys? Okay, knight, what did he take? Oh, he took the knight. Now he takes knight. So if we played pawn takes knight, bishop takes pawn. So bishop takes, bishop there, bishop takes. I think we have mate in that line. So if d takes e5, if bishop takes e5, queen takes a7, check, king c8, and then queen A8 equals mate, I believe. Where's the mate symbol? I believe that's it. What do you think about D takes C E5? D takes E5. He's going to have to intercept with the bishop here. This is what'll happen. He will have to play here. So this would be that's the losing line. If we took this here, copy, we pasted it in, this is what would have to be played. G6 by black, and then we play E takes D6. That's what it'll be played. There actually, I don't believe there's any defense to that. He's going to lose 2 pieces. He's going to lose a bishop in that line. D takes D. He's going to, when we take here, he's going to have to, because he's got to stop mate, he's going to have to, oh, not G. What was I thinking? It's B. Copy. Hold on, guys. I gotta re-put that in. Not G. B6. So you have to play B6, and then we come in and we grab the bishop, and we get a bishop. He might try. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me see here. I'm gonna re-put that in. I see kind of what he might play. B5. He might play B5 there, which would throw a kink in our setup here. Not there. Here, and then B5. Nope, B5 still loses to mate again. Nope. So he does have to play B6. That's the only way to stop mate. Yeah, I saw that just as you said it. So we have to take first, and then we take again, and oh, you're kidding. You're joking me. What did we miss there? What did I miss? Oh, snap. Snap. Ah. That's right. We have to do another one. That was my fault. My fault there. Should have we'll do one more. But we have to get that. That was a cinch. Cincher. I just moved way too fast again. Slow down. I have to slow down. Yeah, queen first, then that. Yep. That was right. Okay, let's get this. We'll end on a green. Then we'll be 50-50. Okay, you could put the line in, then we'll go back and we'll go over that line. But I want to get this one put away, and then we'll go back over that line. Okay, dokie. Okay, A4. Okay, you got a line, put it in, and we'll go over it. Let's see. Boy, I'm trying to see if I can't get anything to work. I'm looking for anything here. I'm looking at C4, pawn C4 push, trying to draw the knight away, but that really doesn't do anything because he can take with the knight. I was seeing if he could take with the bishop on C4, but I don't think he'll do that. He'll probably take with the knight, and then we still don't have any attack there because that even if we brought the queen to d5, like this one I'm talking about, if we tried here, I'm here, he would just take with the knight. If we tried this, he then can intercept. No, he can't intercept with the bishop. So he would just retreat back and just have picked up a whole pawn for nothing. Huh. Yeah, you're right. This reminds us of that one puzzle, doesn't it? Snikeys. This is very similar to the one puzzle that we went over before. Wow. You're exactly right here, because bishop takes. If queen takes, we then play bishop takes, knight. Sorry, bishop takes knight, pawn takes bishop, and then c4, and we pick up a whole piece in that line. Yeah, nice find. Yeah, this is the move. Then you take there, like what you're saying. After takes here, bishop takes. He's gonna have to like move the queen, and then we pick that up. Okay, did you have a line for the prior one that you were saying? For the prior puzzle, you said you had a line for the prior puzzle. The one that we should have gotten, but I went a little too fast. Okay. Do you have any questions about this before I log off? Does anybody in the chat room have a question on this puzzle before we log off? Any ideas beyond this that you want to go over? Okay, perfect. Then we will log off for the night. Hey, you know what? I wanted to thank you all for logging on. Remember, you have to be patient. Even I kind of got a little impatient, and we would have had 100 for 100, but I still got to work on my moving too fast. Even if I think it's right, just take a second, look at it, and like Alekine says, if you see one move, try to find another one if you have time, and then choose the best one out of those two or three if you can find it. And then you'll get better and better in chess. But be patient. Like we learned from that one game that I played, I won against that opponent the first time. I lost because of impatience. Then we drew. So we have to remember that patience is very important. You can't always in a close game get what you want. You have to, even if it's a draw, sometimes a draw is a victory, my teacher taught me. Like what Bruce Lee says, there are no limits. There are times that we plateau. But remember, plateauing is part of life. I believe that the Lord made a plateau so that we can always come back and rely on Him. That's just my opinion. And that once we get our lesson, learned, we can then climb to the next plateau. And He's always there again to greet us and teach us. But you must not stay there. See, we can't stay there. Don't stay there. Don't be satisfied with where you are. Go to the next limit. Keep going. You know what I mean? Don't keep pushing forward. And once you go beyond it, you'll get to apply another thing Bruce Lee said. Knowing is not enough. You may know how to get to the next plateau, but you must apply your knowledge. And you may be willing to climb, the next step to the next plateau, but you have to actually do it, and that's the whole thing. That I even find I get impatient and I have to work on patience. So I thank you guys for bearing with me on that, because it's something that we all struggle with, patience. That's what the computer has. They don't mind if they go back and forth, move 20 to 30 different moves, almost the same but kind of different order. Their whole goal is victory. Sometimes it ends up a draw, but their whole goal is victory. In their mind, a draw is 100% accurate. Like us, we want to go for the win, to be 100% accurate sometimes, even though 100% accuracy is a draw. So just keep that in mind. I know those are heavy thoughts, and just think about those, okay? And I'll leave you guys with that, with this. We hang up our coat, we hang up our hat, and we sit down and we do the puzzles that most will not, so that we can go beyond the plateau. Okay, as Wesley So says, through the Lord Jesus, and as I say, God bless, and I'll see you guys next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a blessed morning, afternoon, and evening, and the 960 is on tomorrow again. So if you guys are interested, log in and enjoy Garry Kasparov, Topalov, and all the guys. Okay, be blessed. Go Team Chess Cruncher. Great job, guys. And I'll see you tomorrow. Be blessed. Bye bye.